Have you ever noticed how some devs just stay 10 steps ahead of everyone else without breaking a sweat? Let me show you something. This is how most devs plan out their workload. It's messy, chaotic, with basically no game plan. There's tasks everywhere, no structure, no strategy. But this is how top developers approach that exact same workload. They start by methodically planning their work in a well-crafted, repeatable framework. So today I'm going to show you exactly how to create and implement this framework to get you consistently ahead of everyone else on your team. But if you're new here, my name is Chris and I'm a principal software engineer. And on this channel, I share all the developer productivity and career hacks that got me promoted from junior to principal in just under 3 years. So how do we actually transform our week from this to this? It starts with something called energy-based calendar mapping. And here's what I've noticed after years of development work. I'm not the same developer at 9 a.m. as I am at 3 p.m. Nobody is. We all have these natural peaks and valleys in our focus and problem-solving abilities throughout the day. But let me show you how I map my actual calendar based on these energy patterns and how it's completely changed my productivity. Okay, so let's take a moment and look at the calendar right here. Instead of just scheduling work whenever it fits, I color code my day based on my energy levels. You see these morning blocks in green? That's when my brain is firing on all cylinders. This is when I tackle my most complex problems, architecture decisions, difficult bugs, and code that just needs deep focus. For me, that's from 7:30 a.m. to about 11:30 a.m. And this is my golden time. Now, I've learned over the years that if I waste these hours on emails or even small, simple tasks, I am throwing away the best brain hours of my day. But by midday, these yellow blocks, my deep focus starts to fade, especially if I have meetings. This is when I schedule my collaborative work, code reviews, and maybe discussions with the team. And these afternoon blocks in blue, that's when I handle the most straightforward tasks. We're talking about documentation, smaller tickets, and maybe just catching up on Slack. These things don't require a lot of brain power or mental energy. The key insight here isn't just knowing when you work best. It's deliberately protecting those peak energy hours for your most valuable work. That's how senior devs squeeze more productivity out of the same 8 hours. Now, mapping your energy levels, this is just the first piece. But even with the perfect energy map, things are still going to go wrong. That's where the second technique comes in, and this is called strategic buffer planning. And this is how I approach deadlines or estimates. So let's go ahead and take a look at how I plan a project's timeline. You see these gray blocks here? That's my strategic buffering time, and there's absolutely non-negotiable in my planning. Because at the end of the day, here's the reality we all know, but rarely plan for. Software development is unpredictable. That elegant solution you thought would take a day, well, surprise, dependency issues made it 3 days. That simple API integration, sorry, the documentation was wrong. So instead of pretending that everything will go perfectly, I am deliberately building in buffer time into every single project. And I've always been a firm believer of under-promising and just over-delivering. And this is how I apply it to my schedule. For example, if a feature will take 5 days, I'll go ahead and just schedule 7 days for it. Those extra 2 days aren't about me being lazy, they're me being realistic about the complexity of software development. And honestly, the counterintuitive truth here is that by giving you this extra time, you'll actually move faster overall. Because when you're not constantly context switching between unfinished tasks that are spilling over, you're not rushing and creating this technical debt that's going to bite you in the butt later on. This buffer approach means that I'm going to regularly finish tasks ahead of schedule rather than barely making the deadlines. And honestly, that reputation of reliability, it is worth more to me than working until midnight just to barely hit a deadline that I should have negotiated better in the first place. So before we get into the third and final strategy, I wanted to mention something quickly. If you're finding any of these techniques helpful, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I share developer productivity tips like this every single week that have actually helped me advance my career without burning out. Okay, so now there's one more key strategy that senior developers use to stay ahead while still leaving at 5. It's called Selective Task Batching, and it's completely changed how I view my daily work. Think about how much time you waste switching between different tasks, from coding to reviewing to meetings, back to coding. Each task is going to cost you mental energy and time. So let me show you how to fix this. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at this task list here. Most developers are just gonna take their work in whatever order it's gonna appear in Jira or based on who's gonna shout the loudest. But honestly, that is incredibly inefficient. So instead, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and group these types of tasks together, and we're gonna knock them out in focused batches. Here's what this actually is gonna look like in practice. You see how I've color coded my tasks? All code reviews are in blue, feature work is in green, bug fixes are in orange, and documentations are in purple. Instead of me randomly jumping between these, I will strategically batch all of these items together. For example, I batch all my bug fixes that are in the same area together, and I dedicate a little block to knock out these multiple bugs in just one session. Because once I'm in that debugging mode, I'm way more efficient than if I'm constantly switching contexts. The key insight here isn't just about grouping similar work. It's about recognizing the massive hidden costs of context switching. So research actually shows that it can take up to about 23 minutes to fully regain focus after switching a task. So by batching all the similar work, I'm actually saving hours in recovery time every single week. And here's the best part. Those hours that I've saved aren't spent working late. They allow me to consistently leave at 5 while still overproducing. So there you have it. The 3 strategies that help senior devs stay 10 times ahead while still leaving at 5. You have the energy-based calendar map, which is going to align your most challenging work with those peak mental hours. And then we have the strategic buffer planning. This is going to build realistic time cushions for that feature and for those unpredictable situations that just come up in software development. And then we have selective task batching. We're gonna group those similar tasks and build momentum, and this is gonna eliminate the hidden costs of context switching. When you look at my calendar now, it's no longer this chaotic pile of peas we started with. It's strategically organized based on my energy levels, and I have built-in buffers for the unexpected. And it groups similar tasks together to maintain the maximum efficiency. So this isn't about working harder or longer hours. It's about working smarter with your time and with the same hours that everyone else has. And that's the real difference between developers who are constantly playing catch up to those who constantly stay ahead. So I want you to just try one of these strategies this week. Start with the one that maybe resonated with you the most. And let me know down in the comments which approach made the biggest difference in your productivity. Because at the end of the day, being a great developer isn't about burning yourself out. It's about delivering consistent value while still having a life outside of code.